is what we face on a daily basis, and I'll tell you why. Right? I mean, if you ask people what is the best watch, people will say Swiss watches. Right? That doesn't mean Swiss is the only people. Yes, they make good watches, but they are not the only ones making the good watches. Japanese make good watches. Americans make good watches. Right? It was very similar when we started. People believed that good technology products can again come from
the
like I had a CISO or a board who's telling the CISO or the communication, they're saying, yeah, the work is done by an Indian company, but we need to show on papers at least one Israeli company.
Okay.
So that bias was the fundamental thing for us to break.
Hi everyone, welcome back to the GB Show. I'm in Bangalore today at CloudSEK office, and we are going to talk to the CEO of CloudSEK, Rahul Sasi. He's an amazing guy, have been around 15 years of cybersecurity experience, working in threat intel, brand monitoring, and application vulnerabilities and threat intelligence around that. So we are going to talk a lot about his journey, how he has been a great speaker in the cybersecurity domain. I think he has traveled to around 28 plus countries and have delivered cybersecurity session, how his entrepreneur journey has been from being a threat intel guy to developing a product and reaching out to around having 200 plus customers. What is the CloudSEK's approach for their customer and how they are delivering the best in cyber intelligence? So let's hear about his journey. Hi Rahul, welcome to the GB Show.
Thank you for having.
Thanks for hosting us in your office. I think this is a very pretty and beautiful office. The setup which you have done for community, that SIPs is really amazing, and I think the team and the office is quite vibrant. Amazing. I really feeling the vibe here. So you have done it quite well. So the thing is, this is not like on the very first date. Like it took you around 9 years to make this whole floor for yours, and before that you were working in different organizations. So what was the motivation or the idea of becoming an entrepreneurship? And for my audience, just tell me your journey, that how you started and how CloudSEK born.
Yeah, so for me particularly, I always liked doing something on my own. In fact, in my 11th grade vacation, I used to go sell SIM cards and Tata Telecom, those land phone lines, and like door to door on my bicycle. So I always enjoyed it, and at that point of time, it was more of the Gandhi philosophy that you have to be working while you're studying. So I enjoyed that part of it. But cybersecurity for me was, when I was in my college, I got super fascinated by the world of cybersecurity, and this is my first year. And for me, the way computers are going to evolve and the way computers are going to become a substantial part of our life was, this is a great feeling. And I thought in the future, if these machines ever get sentinel, that means, they have their own, brains on its own. And if they ever start attacking humans, the cybersecurity folks would be the best people to defend, right? So I thought we would, and this is my thought in college, by the way, this is after seeing the Matrix movie, to be honest. I thought that was the future. So I quit my engineering in my 7th grade. I quit that because my college, I got an internship opportunity from a company called iSight. But my college didn't want me to go take an internship outside campus for extended period of time. So I thought cybersecurity was more important than little piece of paper. Because in the end, what do you use a certificate for? It's a certificate is a validation that you know something. But if the community can attest you and tell you that you know something, that's equally enough. That does the work of a centralized authority, right? Very equivalent to that. So I went work for this company as an intern, and while working for them, I started publishing more cybersecurity papers. And that got a lot of international attention. And between 2010 to 2015, I traveled to almost 22 plus countries as an invited speaker. So before traveling to these countries, I thought all the great cybersecurity products or technology come from Israel or US, mostly Israel. I used to think that, I'm coming from a small village. I used to think that people in Israel or US were much smarter than everybody else. But then I went travel the world, I understood smart people are everywhere. Like good people and good smart people are in every part of the world. It could be in Indonesia, it could be in Qatar, it could be in UAE, it could be anywhere. So then that made me think that why can't you build a great software product from this part of the world and sell it to the world, right? So that's how I, started the journey, and yeah.
And then how you zero down on that what service, because when we look into cybersecurity aspects, right, there are different things. It starts from architecture piece, application security, network security, this segmentation, and then SIM. So there were many. So how you thought that, okay, I want to focus on this particular thing,
Yeah.
and this is I want to take it forward.
So I used to work as a cyber intelligence analyst. This is back in 11 to 2011 to 14 time frame. That's what I worked as. Everything I've been doing manually, right? From curating cyber intelligence data, correlating it with customers or infrastructure, trying to see if there is a vulnerability and there's an impact which can be attacked by attackers. That process was being done manually.
Okay.
And the idea was that if we can automate it in a smarter way, and that's where the AI and all were emerging. This is in early 2015, right? The technology was emerging, and I thought there's a opportunity if we can automate this using AI, and that thought got us to building the company.
Oh, amazing! So when it's like you were working on a particular thing, you find a problem, then you thought that okay, let me find a solution for this.
Yeah, and I think always the best solutions or the best product companies or the best entrepreneurship success stories come from solving a problem for yourself. Because if you are solving for yourself, you have a lot more understanding about the problem and the best ways to solve it. And there's enough examples for that. Just take Airbnb for example. I mean, the founders could not find a affordable place to stay.
Yeah.
Is the reason, and during backpacking and all, they could not find a place. Is the reason they founded it, right? So every product, I mean, look at which is the tool which is used for APIs, Postman, right? Well, there's just a problem with the founder faced, and yeah, so it has to be always something which is close to your heart.
Okay.
Important for you.
Fair enough. And so when we are talking about automating threat intel, right? So for my audience, I will love to know that when you were working, threat intel that was different. We are talking 9 to 10 years back, and now it's totally different. We call it like intelligence, cybersecurity intelligence. What is new which has come now, and at what level you have already automated it? So
Absolutely.
bit on that.
So when we started, right, if you look at the whole threat intel space, it was mostly feeds coming in saying that, hey, this company got hacked. These are the IOCs used, or this is the tools which are used to hack this particular company. Those are what we call intel feeds. The problem is consuming them is very difficult. You have to go manually look at that and then correlate that with your infrastructure. So our thought process was that yes, you will have these threat intel feeds, but you need to have technology that can map those intelligence with your infrastructure, with your attack surface, right? So that somebody on the internet says that there's a new vulnerability, you should have to capture that. That's the intel. But then you need to have a technology to know whether that vulnerability is there in any part of your infrastructure and whether it can be impacted or not, and automatically doing an action to remediate it or asking someone to remediate it. This whole cycle of events it was very disconnected.
Okay.
So we built it all together. We have CTI, which is intelligence coming from all parts of the world on what is happening. There's data getting leaked, there's new vulnerability being used, a new attack mechanisms being used, all those things comes. We have another piece which is constantly mapping your internet exposed infrastructure or your attack surfaces. And we have like a very good detailed information about that. And then we use AI to combine these two things. So that you get the best right outcome. So we could now tell a customer, hey, this is a company XYZ which got hacked. The hackers used this particular technique. The same technique can be used to hack 3 of your services, which is sitting here.
Okay.
And here are the action items. Some of them can be automatically applied, or there's an action item you have to do manually. This whole chain made the big revolution. for us, and we have almost 200 plus customers today, right? And this, you can name any top company, any top 10 companies in any country, one of them would be our customer.
Amazing, and I am very fascinated with the journey which you have done. But I think it must not be all gaga. But when you started, what kind of challenges you have faced, like maybe from the product wise, and as being the first generation entrepreneur, because you have
Yeah,
also
yeah.
come from the background of
Yeah.
Joby, which you were doing, right? So in both the phase, technically as well as from the people side, what all you have
See,
seen?
I think human bias is what we face on a daily basis, and I'll tell you why, right? I mean, if you ask people what is the best watch, people will say Swiss watches, right? That doesn't mean Swiss is the only people. Yes, they make good watches, but they are not the only ones making the good watches. Japanese make good watches, Americans make good watches, right? It was very similar when we started. People believed that good technology products can again come
From
from,
the
like,
particular
I had
location.
a CISO or a board who's telling the CISO or there is a communication, they're saying, yeah, the work is done by an Indian company, but we need to show on papers at least one Israeli company.
Okay.
So that bias was the fundamental thing for us to break. But we had to show that with results, right? I mean, we have to show that, well, the capability of what we have built, um, and and the nature at which we are solving was very important. But the minute we demonstrated, see, people were very welcoming, by the way. I'm not saying I have never faced a CISO who ever hanged up on me and whoever I called. I mean, they were always receptive, but it is the board and the company equation, they always wanted to support good products, but the board equation kind of made it little difficult, I would say. But I would say we got amazing support, irrespective of that.
Okay. And if I talk about the journey when you were having from the challenges, how you actually cater that. So some of the things like, maybe the very first sale which you have to do, you have to reach out to the different people and different strategies you need to do. And in 9 years, we have seen the journey of yours. What worked well for you in overall these 9
See,
years?
the first set of, in 10 customers, I went on a bike, like, company to company, sold it, and whether it is the top bank in APAC or the largest ride sharing company, the initial set of customers, the founder has to go sell. Then it is about then you can't, you can't go to 200, because you have to do 200, you have to at least do a POC for, I'm saying minimum, you have to do a POC for 600 companies, right? But you can't then do that. Then you'll have to have a strong team who is helping you build the GTM. And see, for us, the primary thought when we build the company was, are we doing right for the community, right? It cannot be about just selling. Irrespective of whether we are getting a deal or not, are we helping a company at the time of engagement is the number one important thing. So today, someone might not be able to give us business, but you help them, most people are grateful. You say 75% of the people are grateful. So they help them today, some time down the future, they'll give you business. So that has been always our approach. So there are companies who could not afford us at a point of time, and then at a later point of time, they always has brought it. So help people when you can, because cybersecurity has that power, right? It is like someone had an accident, and you're always trying to help them rather than trying to monetize out of it, right? That approach is what we
That's
look
a
at
great thing or a great gesture from you. And I have seen some of your posts, and you have been doing great in different community. You are participating in most of the communities in India as well as globally. And this CloudSEK secure SIPs, that is for a community. So tell me more about this. And how the idea came about that, having this a cafe shop for cybersecurity folks.
So our marketing, and you will never see us marketing by just doing random things, right? Our marketing core focus has been always, are we creating value to the community? Now, let me ask you this question. What is the biggest value you can give to a cybersecurity person? Is it an award? Because that's, you can put it on a shelf and it's very momentary. Is it like a big gift box? Well, it has a shelf life. the biggest value you can give someone is to teach
Knowledge or
them
the
knowledge,
education,
right?
yeah.
Teach them something. Because if you teach someone to fish, they can fish for long, right? Than giving them the fish itself. And the thought process was that if in this space, what we call secure SIPs is the world's first cafe for cybersecurity professionals, where our aspiration is to make coffee free for any cybersecurity person who visits it. So now every Friday, every alternate days, we have events here, free events,
Okay.
where people come teach other community members cybersecurity. And we spend a huge amount of money on this because this is like a, we are in the prime center of Bangalore, and real estate is expensive, right?
Exactly.
But when we decided that, it's like, that's okay, because if we can add value by doing this gesture, that would be the best we can give back to the community.
Sure, I will like to tell my audience that I really love this place, and I have already asked Rahul that we are going to do our CyberFred next meet here. So definitely we'll do a collaboration and do a meet here definitely. But let's come back to the technical side of the product which CloudSEK is doing right now. So if there are many different organizations work on the threat intel, and if I look into your site, so you provide a lot of things from the application vulnerability side and brand protection. And tell me all the pieces which you do for an organization from the tech end, why those are required or important for the organization.
Think from a very simple example. I'll tell you a simple example of Cisco, how they had almost 50 GB of data stolen. It all started with an employee's Gmail credentials being leaked online. Now you ask, why would an employee's Gmail credentials leaked on the internet led to the corporate getting hacked? That is because the Gmail credentials had access to the Chrome browser. The Chrome browser saves all your passwords. So the attacker used the password to log into Chrome browser, got access to all the enterprise credentials. So we have today a monitor, a deep and dark web monitor, which looks for credentials, passwords, critical API keys, etc., being leaked on the dark web. Now, the attacker, what they did is they did phishing on the employee because there was a two-factor authentication. They did a voice phishing, calling them and trying to force them to accept the 2FA to go through. So the second piece we have is a brand monitor. It looks for fake pages, fake social media pages, fake websites, fake domains, fake call centers. Anything infringing your brand, we look at it. Now the Cisco hackers, what they did is once they got access, they looked at all your in digital assets, which could be compromised, and this could be your cloud infrastructure, this could be your web application, from which you can now exfiltrate more information. So the attack surface piece also looks at your web, network, mobile, all your digital assets, and see whether there's a misconfiguration or not. We call them the BVigil suite, the attack surface monitoring suite. And then the third, and so this is how the Cisco attack works, right? So this is our main suite of use cases. One more important thing is in so with this suite of use cases, you use the same technology also to monitor vendors and partners of an organization. We call them SVigil. So everything in a platform is what we provide, and the platform is built with a lot of analyst focus. Making sure that they can customize it to their own needs. The number of events, incidents are very minimal and very quality. The number of sources which we use to monitor and analyze is also much higher, because it took 9 years to build. You can't build everything in 2 years. It took a huge amount of R&D efforts to build all these things. So the depth and the breadth of the platform for us would be the highest. And if you go look at Gartner Peer Insights review, we would be on the top 5 in the world.
Awesome.
Today.
And any case study you would like to share with me, like where you think that if your product wouldn't have been there, that maybe brand could have got some losses or something, or anything where you think, okay, my product has done this amazing job, something, any good one?
Plenty, by the way. I mean, see, the thing in cybersecurity, not just us, because of our actions, we would have stopped catastrophic events from happening. Because we stopped it, nobody ever knew we existed. And this is not for us, but every cybersecurity member and their actions. If a security member didn't exist, a bank would have been compromised. Because of some actions they did, They were, right? So I'm just explaining one such incident. If you look at today, every corporate has WhatsApp for business. That means they have a WhatsApp account where updates are coming on those WhatsApp accounts. Now, company X doesn't tie up with WhatsApp directly to manage this infrastructure. There's a authenticated partner by WhatsApp, Meta, and there's like two partners in the world who kind of, I think 2 or 3 partners in the world who kind of works with other companies to integrate WhatsApp. One of these companies had a very critical incident where, and why we are able to find it, we are passively monitoring the internet to identify all cyber threats. We knew that one of their employee credentials were leaked online. That employee credentials had access to the critical API key management of every company in the world, or almost a portion of the companies. That means you could have literally taken over the WhatsApp accounts of, name a bank, name any e-commerce company, right? Their WhatsApp account could have been hijacked. So that means you can send messages to all your subscribers. You can read messages coming back from them. You could have created like the biggest havoc in the history of cybersecurity with that tiny incident, right? Because they reported, they fixed it. It's resolved.
Okay. That's good that your product is working well for you and for the other organizations who has taken it. Okay, and if I talk about Rahul's word, what defines success for you? And when you say that, okay, you have built a successful product or a successful company, what's your definition of success?
Listen, this is not a 100-meter race where there's a finish line, and I don't think there's ever a finish line in the enterprise world, right? There are companies which are 100 years old, right? The idea is to not do it for 10 years or 20 years. The idea is to figure out how we can build organizations that will last forever. I might be able to do it, I might not be able to do that, but the objective is to keep that as a objective. But small milestones are very important, right? And like I said, we were sitting in a house a couple of years back. From the house, I used to say that we need to have a small office, right? From the small office, we used to say that we need to have an office with a cafeteria. From the office of the cafeteria, I used to say that we need to have a floor of office, right? Now I used to say that I need to have the entire building as an office. So you can put different milestones at each, and to reach that milestone, you need to have 10 other milestones already set. And for me, that is a happiness, like each objective I've finished, I'm going to the next. It's like playing a video game, right?
Yeah.
There's a level, you go to the next level, and then you're just interested in solving challenges of those levels.
Yeah, with the mention of the video game, I just remember last of your video which I watched, you wearing those VR glasses and all. So it's not only security, but you are also pushing yourself towards the emerging technologies as well. Tell me that story, that how with the cybersecurity product you have intersected AR and VR.
Yeah, it's always about cybersecurity for us, but how do we make what we do in cybersecurity better and more efficient? If you look at today, we interact with a computer using keyboard. Keyboards are not the best way of interacting with the virtual world, to be honest. You and I have this conversation. This conversation is the better way of interacting with that computer. Today or tomorrow, that is how it is going to be. Our gestures, the way we interact, we just ask someone to come. Either way, if they come, I will just show a gesture, right? That is good enough to interact with the future computers. So we have just filed patents now. We will be the first company to resolve a cybersecurity incident with just a gesture. And we always experience, we always believe that you have to have enough experiments running in the company. Some of these experiments will not work, but some of the experiments will take off, and Nexus is one of them, to push ourselves to the next stage. And Nexus is a way of interacting with the cyber world with just gestures and voice. I will just show you a demo of that in some time.
Sure, definitely look forward, and I maybe once you show me, we'll record and put it in here if
Yeah.
we need it. Okay, my another thing, I have seen. I was actually stalking all your profile before coming in, and for my guest, I try to do some of the research, before coming in. I think your the team members of yours, they praise a lot about the organization, the culture you have built in, and I have seen you are giving so many gifts, sometimes iPads, iPhones, and you are making your team happy. So what is that culture all about, and what is the leadership mantra you are living with?
Listen, I mean, I would be always correct. I'm not the nicest guy to work with,
Okay.
but I'm very nice to the most hardworking people in the company. I always tell that the culture of the company has been shaped by the way I've seen my dad work and progress. My dad was a best conductor he worked for 25 years, 20 years he has been a best conductor.
Okay.
Right? And I've seen him waking up early morning. Best services starts like 6 o'clock, right? Best services, that's how best services start. And it goes all the way till 7, 8 and all, right? So he's the best conductor of a Kerala Transport Corporation. I've seen him waking up every morning, going hustling. And one day I got the opportunity to go work with him, in the sense, travel with him when he was on the conductor of the same bus. And I understood that it was very crowded. I still remember I was a kid. It was very crowded. And even when I got a place to sit, I felt very dizzy, and I kind of puked that day, which made me think that's the struggle he is going through every day. And after 20 years, he had like a set of promotions, which happened. Multiple promotions happened, and then he retired as the chief transport officer of the state.
Okay.
So I always believe with hard work, you could go anywhere you want. So I always respect and I see people who work hard with a lot of respect. And I always believe that you have to do everything in your capacity to these hardworking folks. Your job is to make it the best environment, give them the best benefits, everything the best we can for the team.
Okay.
Right? So you might be hearing good things about me from the good people.
Okay, so it's all
But I'm
LinkedIn
not
talks about
generally-
it, and
correct.
so how you have been connected to the people, and I think the community. I think you're doing a really great job in that, and I really loved having a conversation with you. But now, as a last segment, I will ask you to talk to my audience directly. So let's say that if any organization has just started, and maybe he's or she's a founder of a particular organization, and they are coming up with an idea, setting up something, what advice you will like to tell them from cybersecurity they should take the measures, and what all things need to be taken care of? So my audience is all yours.
When I look at cybersecurity, the way I look at it, right? Okay, imagine this, right? And the way technology is expanding, imagine maybe I don't know, 10 years back, when you enter a lift, there used to be somebody who used to press a button to take you to the respective floor. Now, if you think about the lift as a technology, the operator was a technician who operated it. But today, we don't have that person doing that job. We just trust in the technology. We press a button that takes you to the right floor. Why I'm saying is that because look at all the cabs which are having. Today there's a driver who is taking you from one place to the other. In the future, the driver would not exist. And I mean, how far in the future we can debate. In the future, it will be you pressing a button and expecting the technology to do the right job. And you'll have so much trust in the technology. And when the technology goes bad, or simple misconfiguration, these technologies will have a crazy impact on human lives. And at that point of time, when that happens, cybersecurity community would be the best defense for it to happen. And imagine with all the AI and AI revolution which is happening, you might have a bad AI from North Korea. With all the 10 good AIs which is out there, there will be bad AI who is capable of creating enough havoc. So the cyber threats which are created by humans today will be created by AI in the future. In all these circumstances, the faith people have put in technology, combined with bad AIs and bad actors, cybersecurity is the best defense, and which is the reason I always feel so connected and feel motivated and find this sector super interesting to work on. And I always respect the other people. I genuinely respect all the people who are working in this space, one way or the other.
Sure. Thank you, Rahul. I think amazing talking to you, and thanks for being on my show as a last ritual. So here's a small goodie bag for you.
Thank you.
And I hope you all enjoyed the episode. I'll see you next Thursday. Take care. Bye bye.
Thanks.